player will.
Good morning and welcome back, Visions fans. It is January 29th, brand new patch released today on Wednesday as part of the continuation of the Final Fantasy V collab, but also the Lunar New Year here for us in Global. And although we don't have a new character for the Lunar New Year, we have some upgrades, which I'll briefly touch upon. But the big news update of the week really revolves around Xdeath and his release and the Vision card. But before we do that, let's just talk about some of the regular bonuses here now that we've had a weekly reset of the login bonuses themselves. We are getting the Lunar New Year bonuses. This one admittedly is fine, nothing crazy, pretty standard stuff that we get for the regular logins. We do have some random pull tickets for the Lunar New Year units. I'm not all that hyped about these personally, and I'll just get this out of the way. I don't think these units are good investments, quite frankly. Even Oberyn, who got his update today, I will touch upon that in just a little bit. But if you see these tickets, okay, they're free, take them, but I wouldn't do much more outside of that. In terms of the regular login bonus for the Final Fantasy V collab, you will have at least one-time pull tickets for Xdeath, as well as some of the Mind Spheres later on, only 20 of them here. You are getting that daily Visior bonus of 300, upwards of 500 here on day 5. The purchase bonus this week, pretty much what we expected as well, that if you were to spend something akin to $1 a day to get that 60 paid Visior, you will get Xdeath shards toward the end of it. The 100 Mind Spheres here, if you get the 5,000, there likely are still some pack H's for some of you if you haven't bought all 3 of them yet. Admittedly, I wish the Skill Snapper reward was a little bit better here at the end, but still 100 Mind Spheres could be a decent consolation prize, depending on if you're using that to potentially buy Xdeath outright, which you can for 12k paid per usual. That's now a normal recurring thing. When we get into the shop here, there are some bundles that I did think worth talking about, and I know I haven't done a patch breakdown in a while. I know for 1 week we had off basically at the beginning of January. Honestly, I didn't think the Gilgamesh patch was anything that really required any kind of analysis, but we got enough new stuff here that I at least wanted to bring some attention to it for those that were kicking around. Now, in the special shop, nothing in particular new here for what's available. It is just the pack H, nothing Lunar New Year related. But before we get into that, they do have the new Xdeath shop, and this to me is honestly pretty standard for what you should expect. You can buy them outright for the 12k paid. You have the option to get the one-time 10 pull ticket for 300 paid, which I am going to do. I always do this. It's just off chance that maybe I get really lucky. The rest of these paid options here, again, I don't love these as much right now that we have the outright option to buy them. I feel like these packs were great deals for Krakens back in the day when you needed to really build a unit a lot faster. But the fact that you can now use a similar paid amount to get them, these are here if you need them. They're no different than they are normally, so feel free to obviously get them if you need them. I always recommend obviously toggling this to Gil and buying everything here that's available for Gil. And again, nothing really new here in the Xdeath shop. It's exactly what you'd expect for a new character release. For the Lunar New Year Deluxe shop, though, this is where I did want to draw some special attention. Every single day for 300 paid, you can get these 60 Rainbow Mind Spheres, as well as some of the Fragments of Thought, Awakening Prisms, and the Experience Cubes. This is obviously an exceptional bundle for those that reincarnate, but I will keep reminding people, those Transcendent Mind Spheres, admittedly by this point in the game, if you haven't been reincarnating, you probably have thousands of them, God knows. But these technically can still be used on units that are going from level 120 to level 140, where you need those 140 Mind Spheres. These can be used, so even if you aren't reincarnating, if you happen to not have a lot of these, there is still a regular application for them for a regular unit before you actually start reincarnating them. So I do still encourage people to entertain this bundle, but we are going to get more and more Mind Spheres, I think, as the future goes on, so you don't have to jump the shark trying to grab this. You do have a Select UR unit shard pack, though, that for 200 shards, and it does go as recent as Venera, you can get this for 500 paid Viz. I think this is an exceptionally good deal. Normally, you get the 1k, or the rack rate, the going rate, is 1k paid for 40 shards. And you can see that here in the Gilgamesh shop. 1k paid will get you 40 shards. The fact that you can use half that cost to get 5 times that amount is an exceptionally good deal for any of these units, in addition to the experience cubes. The UR Vision Card Shard Pack 2, again, this one can be good if you're trying to finish up some of the Holo VCs, but admittedly, I do think some of these shards are a little bit easier to get in the Mog Metal Exchange Shop than they were in the past, so maybe you don't need this one as much. And these last two are deals related to the Lunar New Year units, where you can get a 10 pull for those units. Again, I genuinely don't recommend this. I don't think these units are good enough, even for this deal of the paid pack. And the same thing here, that sure, this is technically a deal in the sense of what you get for the 120 shards for one of these three units, but I just don't know if it's worth it, guys. In terms of the regular Lunar New Year shop, the daily free bonus is a Rainbow Mind Sphere every single day. I know a lot of people are really still in need of this, depending on the free-to-play status of your account or not. The new bundle they've put in here, which is one that I think is debatably good, is this one for 2025 Visior. They did this obviously for the new year, and this one is another way to acquire the Transcendent Mind Spheres. And again, relatively speaking, this is obviously way more Viz than if you did, say, that 300 paid 4 days in a row. It's cheaper and for roughly equivalent mind spheres. But again, if you really need this resource, this is still an exceptional value. Admittedly, again, you're comparing free Viz to the paid Viz option, so it's two different categories. But again, you want to think of this as, for 2K Viz, you normally get 40 unit shards. And here, you're getting 250 mind spheres, which, again, are similar in utilization when you're going to max a character to 140. So I actually will be buying this. I do think this is a great relative deal overall. The rest of these are pretty standard for what they offer for the shop, and again, always recommend toggling to the guild option. And they do have a Lunar New Year shop for these new units, but there's really nothing in here outside of these guild tickets, which again, you absolutely should be pulling them. Even if you aren't trying to reincarnate these units or max them or anything, it's still good to just get the resources. And if you have duplicates of them, you can get Mog Metals, so still toggle the guild setting, buy everything here. But that's basically it for everything that's new in the shop. And so I do want to get to the summon banners, which there's actually a couple really nice things here, and one of them is a UR guaranteed free 10-time summon. And so wish me luck. At this point in my account, I'm only missing Garusa to this point, so that is one that I'm eagerly still awaiting for a lucky drop. It doesn't look like that's the case here, so I'm just going to go ahead and save everybody the time. That is the Phoenix Vision card in Esper from quite some time ago. But they do have a couple new banners, and I am going to go to the new ones, unique ones, first before we talk about X-Death and then talk about the Lunar New Year. If you scroll just a bit, they do have a new Select banner. Now, admittedly, again, it's 2K paid, but it's a level 120 UR guaranteed unit of your choice. And so you get to pick, and it does go as recently as Jaden. So there is some decent catch-up here for anybody trying to pull one of these units at a relatively high level of that 120 that you can then use your Rainbow Mind Spheres on to get them to level 140 pretty quickly. I actually think this is an exceptional deal to potentially catch up on a unit you might have missed to this point. When we get into the X-Death specific banners, again, the advice here is same as always. The step-up banner is preferred. Do this first. If you don't get him by the step-up, you can then swap to his main banner and keep pulling till you get the 2,000 medals, which would be pity. Hopefully get him before then. And honestly, the same can be said for the Vision card. Do the step-up summon first. If you don't have it by then, you can switch to the main banner and hopefully you pull before you get those 1,000 medals to exchange it for pity within the Mog shop. They do have the refreshed bundle of sorts for the 2K paid for the 80 Mind Spheres, 5 URs guaranteed. This one I think again is relatively lower in value for me personally, considering that paid Viz can go to something like a level 120 UR selector, or it can go toward a future 12K paid unit on banner where you just get them for the 12K paid. This is still, again, a relatively good value. Don't get me wrong. I just think you can be more strategic with your paid Visior in other places. And then when it comes to the Lunar New Year banners, again, this is the regular banner where it's an increased drop rate. I wouldn't even think twice about this banner, quite frankly. Even the 5-step summon, I just don't think is a good use of your Visior. Admittedly, this paid banner of theirs is kind of a trap banner because I don't think these 3 units are worth 5K paid. That being said, this is a really generous banner. It's literally you get each one of these units at level 120. You get More the merrier for 1k paid, Resident the Hoppy for 2k paid, and Oberon for 2k paid, again at level 120, which means you get their TMRs. Again, these aren't exceptional TMRs, we'll talk about them real quick. But these aren't the worst TMRs. Although I don't use them regularly, I have used them before. I actually was using this Oberon TMR as recently as like 3 to 4 months ago. It's an accessory with the decreased AP consumption. It's a quick AP restore and some human killer. Honestly, could be worse as far as TMR goes. Again, not my favorite. I don't use it regularly, but I have used it in some of my builds. The More the Merrier one is kind of one of the original shell-related ones where you can give shell and crit evade of 30. It does have 2 casts. Unfortunately, it is a cloth type, so it does kind of limit the application of how often you can wear it. And the Resident the Hobby one has always been kind of a fun theory craft one for people that like to play with the decrease AP style of play on some of these units. I admittedly have not used this TMR, I think, ever, unfortunately, but I guess it depends exactly what you need for your account. But overall, I mean, for 5k paid at the minimum, thinking of those TMRs and maybe a little bit of usage out of them if you want to, I don't know, have some fun in arena, who knows what, it is a good deal. They're just not good units. Now, the other one here is for regular Visiord. It's a 5-step that you can get one of the vision cards of your choice here. I actually don't hate some of these. Now, the More the Merrier vision card, I would likely pass on. That card at this point is a mono element card of wind, and although I have used it, it's not often enough. But if you're a huge mono wind fan, this does still stand the test of time. It's got a ton of accuracy on it, which has always been one of the strong parts of it. It's the human killer, it's HP, and it's earth resistant. So this is one of those cards that, like, in arena, if you're just like farming an earth team, this actually does still have some current day value. The Resident the Hoppy one, actually not the worst card either. This used to be not a great card, but the fact that Dagger is making a little bit of a run at the moment, Dagger is one of the job-related classes on here, and so you get a card that has some luck on it. It's got the crit rate, the slash pen, and the spirit, which obviously spirit right now is kind of at a premium. This could be worse. This has actually aged very well considering what's been introduced to the game. Once again, proving that vision cards are seemingly good investments over time because they tend to come and go when you can use them. And the Oberon card, this one I do think is a little more niche, or maybe not niche, but replicatable for what it offers. The crit rate, the magic res, the attack 60%. This is definitely my second favorite card of the bunch, particularly because this is obviously like katana oriented, but it's technically a great sword card too. But those job groups have enough 60% attack cards now that, again, I don't think this is as special. And so when I'm thinking about vision card priority, I think the Resident the Hoppy might be the best value one at the moment. But that's virtually it. Again, I would not really plan to pull on any of these units. Looking at what they gave for Oberon's MA2, MA3, and Limit Break upgrade, it's missed the mark on everything that JB and I wanted yesterday for it. Literally, almost everything we had wanted for this unit did not come to fruition. And we've already seen at this point that Resnick and More the Merrier, unfortunately, just aren't good usages in 2025. But that's all the big stuff I wanted to cover. Obviously, there's a little bit new PvE content with the Burst Core stage to get more limit burst enhancements. Dark Veritas, I think, has another stage now where you can get him his dream upgrade. I can't remember exactly what it is, but regardless, I think I touched upon everything I wanted, so I'll cut things off here now. But thanks for watching, everybody. If I did miss anything, if you think I'm misinterpreting some of the value of something, obviously, please feel free, throw it in the comment section. Obviously, my play experience and how I approach some of these is different than what the average player might be, and so if you feel like there's something I need to bring more attention to, absolutely shout it out in the comments for other people to see. I'll obviously upvote and like and respond to those comments too. But thanks for watching in the meantime. Good luck pulling for those of you that are, and we'll talk to you all soon.